Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to check today's video out. And we're going to be talking about slip sinker size today. This is something you don't hear much about on YouTube videos, but guys, I've got about 8 or 10 different sizes of slip sinkers that I use. And in today's video, I sort of want to go over each size and sort of explain to you the lures I use them on and the conditions they work the best, because when it comes to the rate of fall on your Texas rig worms or creature baits or anything you use a sinker on, it can make a big difference on getting bites or not. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Also, guys, quick invitation, just like to invite everybody to please consider hitting that subscribe button here to the Fishing Teacher. That'd be much appreciated. It's a good way to support the channel. And also, guys, check out, we've got about 2 more weeks left in the sale on my Solar Bat Series, Signature Series glasses, RB2 and RB3s. You can get them at 30% off for this month, and including you can get 30% off on any prescription lens that fits in these frames too. So I'll put that link in the description. Really appreciate that. Okay guys, let's go to it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start out small, and I'm going to go to bigger and sort of explain to you guys the situations that I use these in. Now the first one I use, which is something a lot of people don't, is a little bitty 16th of an ounce here, guys. This is a 16th of an ounce slip sinker, and look how tiny that thing is compared. Here's an ounce one, so you can see the difference in it. But guys, a 16th of an ounce is a really critical one to have in your box, because like in the springtime of the year when I'm pitching and flipping like a soft plastic stick bait or maybe a small worm, a lot of times I want a real slow fall and a real slow presentation. Now this is especially true if I'm like pitching and flipping around shallow cover that's not real thick. So probably my favorite way to fish a 16th of an ounce sinker is to put it on a soft plastic stick bait like a Senko or his name's Linky, and like pitch it and flip it around like boat dock pilings and stumps and just any type of place where you don't have to penetrate it. It gives it enough weight to actually make it a little bit, where you can cover more water than fishing it weightless, but then it still gives a really slow fall. Okay, the next one, now this is one of my most favorite sizes of slip sinker. It's a little 1/8 ounce sinker. 1/8 ounce size here, guys. Now an 1/8 ounce sinker is a really good sinker for a lot of situations that people don't realize it in. I'll use an 1/8 ounce sinker a lot of times, again, for pitching and flipping. Now, all the sinkers I'm talking about here, most of the time I'm pitching and flipping with them, aside from like casting, like a Texas rig. But the 1/8 ounce it's a really good weight to like fan cast like Texas rig worms over grass beds. That's a really good way to fish it. Also, it's a really good size, again, for pitching and flipping the cover that's not real thick. And one of the things about an 1/8 ounce sinker is I like to use it on those little bit beefier, fatter pieces of plastic. So something like a larger diameter plastic worm or some type of a creature bait, you still get a slow fall, but it's still heavy enough where you can efficiently cover water and pitch and flip it with it. The 1/8 ounce sinker is a little bit more versatile. I do use it in different times of the year. Another time that I use an 1/8 ounce sinker quite a bit is in dirty water, because a lot of times if I'm flipping and pitching in very dirty water, I want that slower fall in there, so an 1/8 ounce is a good size. Okay, the next one is just a really good all-around size. This is a 3/16 of an ounce here. 3/16 ounce is another one of my favorites. If you gave me, I use all of them, don't get me wrong. Every situation is different, but if I can get them to bite an 1/8 ounce and a 3/16, I've just caught so many more fish on it. Now, 3/16 again is a good weight for fan casting Texas rig worm. It's a good bait for pitching and flipping around shallow cover. Once you start getting into 3/16, you can start penetrating a little bit heavier cover, and it's just a good all-around weight for any water depths of less than 5 feet. Now, then we're moving up above the 3/16, so let's get into the 1/4 ounce here. 1/4 ounce, when you start getting into 1/4 ounce, that's when I start considering the slip sinkers to be heavier, because a 1/4 ounce slip sinker it falls significantly faster than an 1/8 ounce. 1/4 ounce, again, it's like as the cover gets thicker, I'm going to a little bit heavier weight. So 1/4 ounce, it'd be a good one to pitch and flip around lay down trees or maybe some flooded bushes that aren't real thick. Again, Texas rig, Senkos, whatever. It's just a really good all around bait. A lot of times I'll use the 3/16 and quarter ounce in the same situations, and the only difference is I'll go to the quarter ounce if it's a little bit windier, but caught a lot of fish on the quarter ounce too. Okay, my next one, guys, is one of my favorite flipping baits for a creature size, and that's a 5/16 ounce. 5/16 ounce is my favorite size to use on a creature bait, like a beaver or a Z-hog or a Z-craw, some type of a creature bait, brush hog, something like that. It's a really good size for pitching and flipping, a diversity of different type of covers. Falls pretty quick, but at the same time doesn't fall too fast. Also, a 5/16 is a really good size to use if you're fishing deeper Texas rigs. So if I'm fishing, a 10-inch worm in 15 foot of water, a lot of times, that 5/16 is a good size with it. So again, wind and a little bit thicker cover. Okay, the next one, guys, is a 3/8 here. 3/8. There's not a big difference between a 3/8 and a 5/16. They fish pretty similar, but again, my determination with by going to a 5/16 or 3/8, a lot of it has to do with wind or water depth, or thicker cover. It's like as the bushes get thicker, maybe I'll go to the 3/8. If I have a windy day and I'm still trying to fish that 10 to 15 foot of water and the 5/16 isn't quite enough, I'll go to that. But again, deeper water, a little bit windy conditions, a little bit thicker cover. Okay, now the next two are what I consider the heavy duty flipping deal. It's the 3/4 and the 1 ounce, both of these here. Now I use the 3/4 and the 1 ounce. These are my two biggest sinkers that I use. I don't go over 1 ounce. You hear a lot of guys going to 1.5 ounces or whatever. I've never found a situation where 1 ounce doesn't work as good. But the 3/4 and 1 ounce are for the heavy cover type of situation. I don't use these for Texas rig worms. It is strictly a pitching and flipping deal in thick cover. A lot of it just depends on the density of the cover. If I'm flipping and pitching matted grass, if there's more openings in it, if it's a little bit thinner, I'll use the 3/4. If it's really thick, heavy, hard to penetrate mats, I'll use the 1 ounce. And the same with flipping super heavy bushes. If I'm flipping those deeper, gnarly bushes, I mix it up between a 3/4 and a 1 ounce. But most of the time, the 3/4 is a little bit more versatile. It's a little bit more versatile of a pitching and flipping bait. And to be honest with you guys, the 1 ounce sinker, about the only time that I use a 1 ounce is on matted vegetation, like matted hyacinths, matted milfoil or hydrilla. I don't use a 1 ounce sinker for flipping and pitching any type of a wood cover like bushes. It's strictly for matted grass. So anyway, guys, that's just a few good tips for choosing your weight. Don't hesitate to experiment, because a lot of times the weight that you use, the rate of fall has a lot to do with if that fish is going to react to that bait or not. So a lot of times you have to experiment, and a lot of people pick a weight based upon nothing but efficiency. Like they pick a weight based upon the wind, the water depth, and the cover they're fishing, those are factors too. But one of the things you have to remember is a lot of times they want a different size weight that doesn't really make sense, because I've seen sometimes they want a fast fall, a heavy weight in shallow water, and sometimes I've seen it the opposite. It has to do with the mood and the personality of the fish. But that's just sort of some foundational tips with that, and hope it helps you out, and we'll talk later.